Welcome to Surviving Life's Traumas and Dramas podcast, where me and my family have come together to share our experiences of our traumas and dramas in hopes it will provide you a place of comfort and encouragement with zero judgment. Just real conversations of our journeys so you never have to feel alone on yours. A while ago regarding releasing yourself from the version of yourself that you created in order to survive. And I don't know about any of you sitting here or watching, but that was really deep. And that was really hard because I had to create different versions of myself in order to survive, not feeling like I was going crazy. Needing to survive being manipulated, needing to survive just different forms of abuse. And when I saw that quote, which I don't know who it's from, but when I saw that quote, it was hard because I'm like, oh my God, I still need to work on releasing myself from the version of myself, like apologizing, for example, that I created in order to survive, in order to feel safe, in order to be okay. That's honestly probably part of the reason why I cuss so much, is because it's kind of like a safeguard for me, because people don't like cussing, and I'm like, I really don't give a shit. Because it was a version of myself that I had to create in order to survive certain situations. So I just wanted to talk about that with you, ladies. Did you guys, when you seen that, could you guys relate to that at all?
When I had you define for me what it meant, it was exactly the way my life went, because I couldn't no longer, I had to take on others' likes. And my likes, I had to put on, actually I didn't even put on the burner, they were on the shelf. They were no longer part, like singing was no longer part of my life. Like the hair industry, I had to remove myself for a long time and become how someone else wanted me to be, even though it wasn't what I wanted to be. It wasn't, I just had no interest, but I had to take on the interest and do it in order to make the other person happy. And
the person defined me, or at least I thought that they defined me, even though my life, what I was doing in my life, was not their business. But because I was with this person for so long, and because of the abusive treatment that I got mentally and emotionally, I felt like I had to create a certain version of myself that they defined who I was. That I'm like, hold on, wait, kind of like what you were saying, Mom. I don't even know who the hell I am. Why am I allowing somebody else to dictate who I am, or to tell me who I am, when I don't even know who I am? And when I did that, it was so freeing, but at the time I didn't realize that that's what was happening. I didn't realize I was allowing somebody to define me. I didn't realize that I had created a whole new version of myself to survive in that relationship, in that marriage, in that situation. And god dang, that's scary.
yeah,
The fact that me allow somebody to have that kind of power, control over you, holy shit, dude.
Well, that, and I mean, even like, while it's happening, you don't recognize it.
Yeah, which is even scarier.
Like, that blew my mind, because like, you know, when I was married, like, we both were young. Again, got married a month after I turned 18. I went in knowing I wanted to be a wife, I wanted to have a good job, I wanted to have kids, and it was my main focus for my life. Like, it became my identity, you know, better or worse. But like, with him, he had a lot of identity issues as well. Like, he wanted people to see him at this like super high level, no matter our situation. So like we would rent houses way out of our means, but for him it was, you know, what people see, you know, so they expected him to, you know, be this much more powerful man than we were at the time. But like going through a relationship, I did everything I could to uplift him and make him look like, you know, the man that he wanted to be. And I encouraged him and that kind of stuff as much as I could as his wife. But when we separated, I had no idea who I was anymore. Like I could tell you all of his favorite things, everything he liked, everything he wanted to do. But if you asked me like what some of my favorite foods were, I don't know. Like, I'm used to making these things and, you know, that kind of stuff. And one of my friends, after we had separated, she'd sent me this song. It's called "Miss Me More." And like I heard it the first time, as you know, just talking about like music and just different stuff, you know, kind of rediscovering yourself. And I was like, huh, all right, like I do miss me more. Like I need to miss myself, but completely losing yourself in someone, that's hard, because then you have to rebuild your identity and figure out who you are as a person. And that's scary.
Yeah.
Like, because I didn't like, even like listening to that song is honestly probably when I realized that I had lost my whole identity. And it's just like, wow, like, how did that happen?
Yeah.
But you know, with that too, like when we separated and like realizing that I lost my identity, like it was obviously probably another contributing factor to the marriage struggling, because I wasn't the same person that I was when we got together. And you know, then there's just all this stuff going on in my head about who I was, because a lot of my identity too was I didn't want to be my mom. Like her marriage had failed and now my marriage is failing, and just snowballs. So there's, it's a mind fuckery.
It really is.
Yeah.
It really is.
It's nuts. It's nuts.
I can't really identify with like losing myself in a person like that, but I can definitely identify with creating, I don't know. I was kind of always labeled, so obviously as all of us, we have two sides of the family, right? Mom and dad. And was a totally seen differently in each side of the family. And my father's side of the family, my father being someone who never accomplished anything in life. And I won't go into all the details about him, but he really never accomplished anything in life. And I was kind of just seen as his daughter, so destined to fuck up. And so it was always like, well, you know, you're probably just going to be like that anyway. You're probably just going to be like that anyway. And then, you know, I would go from that to being with my mom and stepdad, where I was kind of like heavily praised as being really smart and really funny and outgoing. And it was like a battling thing within myself. But up until probably at least 7 or so years ago, I had this fear in the back of my mind that I was going to end up like him. And not just him, but my aunt, who I lived with for a long time, who was an addict and definitely had a lot of mental health problems, because I'm so much like his side of the family. I look like them, I think like them, I act like them, and I was just kind of destined to be like them. And so it took until, honestly, my aunt passed away for me to release myself of that. Like, okay, I am, at this point, I was about 35 years old. I haven't done it yet. You know, I'm not an addict, and I'm not struggling with my mental health, and I'm not a very mean person, and I've accomplished things in life. You know, I'm a good mom, I'm a good wife, I treat people with love and care and respect. And I was finally able to, I think, recognize it and then let go of it. And see myself a little bit more for who I actually am, instead of who I was kind of always told that I was gonna be.
Yeah. And I have to process that in the way that you did, instead of going out on, you know, this bender or, you know, oh, well, because they think this, I'm going to prove to them that they're right. You know, when you actually did the opposite. You proved that they were wrong,
Mm-hmm.
and that it was a good thing that they were wrong,
Yeah.
because again, they don't define you. You
Yeah.
define you.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So, you know, and I think too, at least for me, being so broken throughout my life because of a lot of different traumas and dramas that I've gone through, I think it was easier for me to allow people to define me. It was easier for me to allow me creating different versions of myself to survive in different situations because I was already broken.
Mm-hmm.
And I only know that brokenness, right? I only knew how it was to be certain ways because I was broken, because I was hurting. And up until, I don't know, the last few years, I really didn't know myself very well, or even at all. And so because of that, again, I let that brokenness, that people defining me, to create versions of myself that other people created. Does that make sense?
Yep. Yep.
Well, for me, I think it was following through with, okay, I really don't want to do this, but I will do this so you will accept me. Because rejection and not feeling good about myself and rejection in so many areas of my life, and I didn't want to I feared that if I didn't go along with it, that there would be retaliation.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's just how, you know, you do this to me, I'm gonna do this to you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, you know, or it's the brokenness was, you know, how much do you love me? How much can I screw around on you?
Mhm.
How much can I hurt you? How much do you love me? You know, and it was just so broken, and so much rejection and so much unworthiness that you just give in
Mm-hmm.
because it's safe.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it's not you, well, I will make it be me.
Mm-hmm.
Am I happy doing it? No, I don't like it. But it's who I am now. And I had to, 10 years ago, one of my pastors, it was after I met them, and she noticed worth in me. And she pushed me to that. The first book would have never happened if it wasn't for her saying, "You're good enough. You have a story people need to hear. You're good enough. I see potential in you." Nobody ever said that to me before. Nobody ever told me I was good enough before. And so, you know, what do you like? And that's how when I don't know. What are your likes? What are your dislikes? I have no idea. You know, because I didn't know who I was. The only thing I knew at the time, I liked Chinese food.
Mm-hmm.
You know, well, what are your likes? I had no clue. It was because of rejection, because I needed to feel like and that was, I guess, my way of feeling safe, not worrying about, is this person gonna like me, accept me, still love me, yada 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 yada.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, it so many things, you know. And then when you're still not good enough,
Mm-hmm.
you know, you didn't do this right, you're still not good. Then So
Then you start creating different versions of
Yeah.
yourself to be, okay, well then this has to be good enough. Okay, well then that has to be good enough.
Yep.
And then you end up losing yourself and trying to be the version other people want you to be instead of being the version you are supposed to be
Mm-hmm.
and you want to be.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why that quote to me meant so much, and it was so deep and so heavy. I remember recording the video and coming to the area my husband was in at the time and just crying. He's like, "What is wrong?" And I'm like, and I couldn't even tell him because I was so deep in thought with that because of what you're saying. You create different versions in yourself to try to be something for somebody else.
And with that a little bit right now, like one of the main versions I've always had of myself that I think I've kind of corrupted over the years, and I need to find a healthy way to be that person, because I know my heart's there. Like, I want to help people, but like growing up with my mom and kind of having that codependent relationship with her, like I've always been the fixer, the one that made everything better, the one that took care of my little brother, the one that took care of my mom, the one that, you know, just took care of everybody. That I wasn't ever taking care of myself. And now as an adult, like realizing that I didn't have boundaries with people in my life. Now one of the people in my family I'm trying to establish boundaries with, I am worried. Like, that could be the end of a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if I don't help him, is he still gonna love me? And I doubt he does.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really hard for me because he's the only one I have left.
Yeah.
So, but, you know, I want to help people, but it needs to be done in a healthy way. And for a long time it hasn't been. It's just been me enabling them.
Mm-hmm.
And can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
So more to come on that. But yeah.
It's hard to be the fixer and also to set those boundaries. It's so hard, and then you feel the guilt. Yep, I definitely resonate with that. I've always been the fixer too. And, you know, whenever my husband's like, you don't really have to, and I'm like, have you met these people? I actually do.
Yeah.
I actually do have to.
Yeah.
Because, you know, when you love somebody, you want to.
Yeah.
It's kind of an innate thing. And, you know, but it's also, we have to help ourselves, because if we're not helping ourselves, how the hell are we going to help somebody else,
Right.
honestly?
Mm-hmm. Right.
We're not going to be able to give what they need if we can't even
Yeah.
keep ourselves afloat. And it's hard, the guilt that comes after, because they're used to that too. You know, they're used to you just giving all of yourself.
Well, to a point, then they start taking advantage of it.
Mhm.
Yep.
It's just, that's when it gets toxic.
Yep. Yeah.
Not a fun place to be.
Nope.
Well, and you just said something about people taking advantage of you. And isn't that the truth? Like, if you don't set healthy boundaries with people, then they do take advantage of you.
Yep.
You know, it doesn't matter if it's family, friends, coworkers, it doesn't matter. If you don't set healthy boundaries that you can work within, people will take advantage of you, and they love it because they know that they're getting something from you because you have a good heart.
Yeah.
Because, you know, like you ladies, I'm a fixer, and I'm like, okay, let's figure this out together, right? How can we make this better? How can I help you make this better?
Mm-hmm.
But is that really helping them?
Mm-hmm.
Or is that enabling them?
Mm-hmm.
And that's where, like you were saying, boundaries, right?
Mm-hmm.
Boundaries are so important.
They are.
Well, I remember years, in fact, I keep all the letters and everything, and I found a letter when I was going through stuff, and it was from probably within 5 years of the marriage, and I received a letter. It was when the boys and dad were gone, they took the motorhome, they left, blah, blah, blah. And the letter, in that letter, all the different things he said, but you'll just forgive me anyway. And I'm thinking, so to me, it even though it's so many years later, I'm like, so it's okay to do that because I will just forgive you anyway? It's okay to hurt me. It's okay to take advantage of me. It's okay to put me down, you know, all these things, because and I'm thinking, well, you're right, I will forgive you. You know, it's like, I forgive for me.